My babies, how are we, my babies? Okay, keep doing this, right? It's been really hot the past couple of days. I don't know how to explain. I think the perfect word would be lethargic. So I kind of decided not to like eat anything doughy. It's like anytime I eat a sandwich or something, I kind of like drop into like this kind of like slurpy attitude, right? Like one of those like Homer Simpson style like images where he's stuck to the couch and he can't move. Yeah, so that's been happening. Also, I've been kind of like going through some, I don't know if it's anxious, frustrated, or just kind of give and take, anticipatory. I don't know what to say. But let me tell you this, I'm finding it harder and harder to be proud of the work that I'm doing. And hear me out. It's not like I'm not actually like it feels like there's something that I'm not really approaching. And over the past couple of days, man, it's just like I get the work that I plan on doing done within like the first hour or 2 hours of like me starting to work. But then after that, it's kind of like done. So what am I even trying to explain to you? Anyways, I'll get to it sometime. But today's video kind of like being vulnerable versus exposing your vulnerabilities. Maybe right now I'm just basically exposing my vulnerabilities, I guess. So I had a person that I talked to once, and I really tried to understand them. Just didn't know what I should understand. I didn't know what I was supposed to connect with to make them feel good. And that's not from me. That's basically, when you're verbalizing things way too much, what effectively you do is you kind of like lay down or lay out, I don't know, the structure in which you kind of like see things. And I don't know if exposing your vulnerabilities is actually a positive thing. I think being vulnerable is an active approach towards the things that are kind of like frustrating you. I would respect that. I would respect that. I would mind myself with it. I don't think I'll be triggered by it. But exposing your vulnerabilities is kind of like, I don't know, like throwing your dirty laundry on like the clothing line or in front of your house kind of style, right? I don't know if there's a time and place for anyone to just expose the things that they see as expose the things that fuck with them. I don't know if there's ever a time for that. Being vulnerable versus exposing your vulnerabilities. Being vulnerable is the initiation of courage, I guess. It's the understanding of where you could, where you're starting from. Whilst exposing your vulnerabilities is telling a story where their existence is okay by you. Maybe right now I should actually say something that as an explanation of what is. Uh, there isn't confusion in my head, man. There's a there's a vacant space, a time a pocket of time throughout the day where I keep finding myself not really not satisfied with my engagement with life, probably. I don't know if that's supposed to be like funny or not, but what I just said, I don't know if that's me exposing my vulnerability or that's me being vulnerable. So I said how I feel. I'm not exposing yet. But if I had pointed at it in a way that made it an acceptable part of my day, maybe that'll be the exposure part. So I'm being vulnerable by pointing out that these are the things that I'm not actually like, I'm not finding fulfillment slash comfort with. I'm feeling that I have not really been up to par with myself with that pocket of time that I'm talking about. I'm expressing that I can I can I can do better, that I am better than this. I think that's a way for me to kind of like regain some humility. Regain is a strong word that I'm using right now. But if I actually took the time to compare where I am right now to where I was 2 years, I think that'll be an arrogant approach to whatever I'm vulnerable in right now. And that'll be true exposing of vulnerabilities, right? That'll be a truthful approach where that'll be an untruthful approach towards these vulnerabilities. Because what effectively I'll be doing is just using his selective history in order to engage with what's not really working right now, and in a way, okaying it, giving it its own rhetoric. The person I knew at one point, and I know exactly why I wrote this note. I was having a conversation with somebody at one point, and anytime I was vulnerable or she was vulnerable, we'd always be able to go back and forth. And it doesn't matter what I did and how I asked her or talked to her. There was always like a sane approach, a rational, even emotional approach. There was always an opening to, I am hearing you. And one day she just started like reminiscing with like a smirk on her face of how she doesn't really feel like she's deserving. And she never really did. And after that happened for like 5 minutes, knowing full well like she was comparing that to her doing better right now. A big part of me did not want, didn't care for the backstory of how she felt, but wanted kind of like to understand, or at least wanted to point out, like, this is what's happening right now. Like, why the fuck would you just bring all that stuff out? And I saw it as one of those like self-destructive times, because that's what we do, right? When something good is happening, what we do, we reflect on how the bad stuff kind of like, I don't know, we reflect on how this is not really what we're used to, just kind of like throw these things in front of us. And in a way, lose trust in ourselves or kind of like shock the confidence to a level that allows us to feel normal again, which is the normal that we used to feel before. Being vulnerable, man, is really something if you're honest with yourself about it. I really think it's the starting point, kind of like, is the initiation of a new stage in your journey. A beautiful, beautiful state. You know, the way I'm imagining it right now is being vulnerable is kind of like it's like Plato, right? Like anywhere you touch is soft enough for it to move, so you can kind of like design it any way you want. I wonder if I've been vulnerable over the past couple of weeks, months, maybe. Something has something has changed. Today I'm gonna stick to these videos until it comes up. See you in a bit, babies.